Hey guys, welcome back. We have an interview today with Azirim, who is essentially one of the individuals that were owed product and or money from Adrian here, also known as PDC. Now, this whole situation is a giant pain in everyone's ass, and it's largely due to the fact that Adrian is not sending everyone their stuff. That's kind of what it comes down to. The person we're going to talk to today, we're going to get the full story from today. It's an extremely long call, but I encourage everyone to listen to the story. I want to make sure everyone has the ability, if they're involved with anything that's covered on the channel here, to tell their story in its entirety. We're going to get into that, but I just want to clear up the details ahead of time here for anyone that is just tuning in. So we have Adrian here, PDC, who was running a channel, running a break channel, selling stuff for people, had a Discord, had deals, had that kind of thing going on, and all of a sudden ghosted, just shut things down. Now, if you're going to run something like that and you're going to shut it down, there's no problem. If you're tired of it, if you don't want to do it anymore, that's fine. But send everyone that you owe stuff their fucking stuff. My God, this is frustrating. So I've been pushing him. There's been people pushing him in order to get him to send the stuff back to people, It seems like he has everything that he owes the people. So this is like the worst scam possible. All you're doing is making yourself look worse and worse by just dragging it on for no reason. Just buckle down, get it going. He's gone silent recently again, which it seems to be an ongoing issue, but just square everyone up. Now, the people that are owed stuff, the people that want to jump in on the people that are owed stuff, do not threaten violence. We've seen some threats of violence. We've seen some trolling. That does not help. What you need to do, if he owes you, I don't care if he owes you $50, you file a police report that he did not send your stuff. Bare minimum. First thing you do. If he does not want to send you your stuff, you file a police report. You do not threaten. You don't talk about how you're going to bring a bat to his house, and that's the only way you're going to get your money or your stuff back. And hopefully he smartens up and he does it before this becomes a serious issue. Now, I don't know what the options are. The example today, depending on how much you're owed, it may or may not be worth going the legal route. Maybe you reach out to Azirim. Maybe collectively people can take legal action against this to have the stuff sent. It's ridiculous that it comes to that. It's ridiculous that it came down to that whatsoever. And I encourage you to listen to the full story today to find out about that. Hopefully he gets his act together. He did send somebody their stuff back, at least one person, while we were putting some pressure on him to do so. And hopefully he continues to do that. But it needs to be in a timely manner. It's already been way too long for everyone that's owed stuff. Fix it. Then if you want to go off and play One Piece and whatever the hell else you want to do, hang out with Robo and tell lies to each other, whatever you got to do. Poke each other. Don't poke anyone. Don't threaten violence. Again, violence is not the answer. It's trading cards that we're in here. And if somebody wrongs you, getting violent or threatening them is not too... This is like the age-old two wrongs don't make a right. Law enforcement. You think maybe one police report isn't going to make a big difference. But if he ripped off God knows how many people, if he still owes so many people their stuff, collectively, police report after police report from the people that are actually owed something should add up, should at least put pressure on. I mean, it should never come down to that. It should never come down to having to take legal action against somebody because they just aren't sending you your stuff. But apparently that's it. I don't understand it. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if it's like a trolling thing. I don't know if it's like a spite thing. I don't get it. It blows my absolute mind that he just doesn't send everyone their stuff back. I want everyone to get their stuff back. Again, this is the most important thing here is people are sent what they're owed. I don't expect anyone, especially if you were owed things and he isn't sending them to you and it's been a year or whatever it's been. I don't know how long it's been for each individual case, but unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it with the Elon Musk shit. Be careful when you're buying from these people, even though they send you stuff one time, even though they're continually sending you stuff. If they get in financial trouble, which it doesn't seem like he has, it just seems like they're just ghosted people for the purpose of ghosting them. He'll say that he's going to send them stuff and he doesn't send them stuff. regardless, listen to the story here. Hopefully, I have better updates in the future with more people getting refunds. We had one person that got refunded. They told me they got all the stuff that they got. There also happened to be somebody that was threatening violence or implying that violence was needed. They got their stuff back. They said, "Hey, Rattle, I got all my stuff back. Thank you." And so I figured that was that. Then I get criticism for, "Oh, what the hell, Rattle? He didn't send one of the items." I was told from the person that was owed the stuff that he got all the stuff. So apparently there's one more item that needs to go to this individual. There was extras put on there. The whole thing is an absolute disaster and a total unnecessary disaster. And shame on PDC for dragging it out. Again, guys, do what's right to solve the issue, and hopefully he decides to flip it around, turn it around. I'm not expecting anyone to trust him. I'm not expecting anyone to send him money for anything in the future, but make it right. To the even people are not even asking for the additional extras. You don't have to send extras. Send the people what you actually owe them in a timely manner. Do it now. Do it all right now. Take a week and send it all out. All right. Azirim also wanted to add a note here, a little clarification on the video itself. After the fact, he said, "All right, I should clarify. Adrian did send me an extra Scarlet and Violet ETB, but still much less than the $700 plus. I lost out on the court case." So I don't understand how in the hell did Adrian think it was a good idea to let it get to that point and not just send the stuff back? It blows my, the whole situation is so stupid on his part. It's so dumb. Just send everyone their stuff, please. All right, here's the story. Take a listen. I'd like to thank you for taking some time. I know you've been busy and traveling and everything else, so I do appreciate you taking the time to kind of run me through the basics, or I guess like the quick summary of your events, and maybe if there's advice for other people that are still in a position that are owed items, and if he doesn't kind of turn his shit around and actually send them back, which is seeming like a difficult process, then maybe they can kind of take the same action that you did, since you found success. Oh, I'm sure it was a headache, but at the end of the day, most importantly is everyone gets their stuff back.
Right.
So, if you want to start off with, I guess, how you met Adrian, how you started or came into contact and started business with him.
Yeah, sure. So, pretty much what happened was I actually was invited into the Discord server that he started. I was at the time, I believe, looking for like a celebrations UPC, and I was told that like this was a server that people would always like you know try to like buy or sell things at, and like I could look around and see if there's anyone offering a good deal for it. And then I saw that he was also doing live streams back then. This was like, I want to say 2022 August or so.
So like later on, end of pandemic kind of.
Yeah, right around then. So that's how I found Adrian. That's how I found his Twitch streams at the time. I thought, what he had, like, I would compare it around like prices a little bit, because if it's all the same stuff, right, you kind of, you want the best deal, right? And for to his credit, I think at the time he did have quite good deals. Like, I think a lot of the prices that he was selling at were a lot lower than what you could, your other sources on the market and all, right? Um, so that's sort of like how I got into it. It's just average like viewer versus live stream ripper, right?
Yeah.
And then
Rip and ship or seller.
yeah. And then for me, it was like oh yeah, just build up a package, and then once I get big enough, like feel like the shipping cost is worth it, then I'll go ahead and get everything shipped out at once, right? So I built up a bunch of stuff for a while, and then later on into that year, so this is around um January of 2023, like right around the New Year time, right? Um, that's when I like really got into it. He did this like big Crown Zenith charity stream. And that's when I like really got in. I think I donated like a couple hundred. And then at that point we started talking a little bit here and there. And then come March, we find out that the Chinese Pokemon, so like simplified Chinese, has a Pokemon version as well, and then they're doing a bunch of like Sun Moon stuff, right? So we figured at the time, like, hey, this could be something interesting. It's an official Sun Moon era set that's like not exorbitantly expensive. Um, so he started to promote that. He started to sell that on his streams. And I realized, wait, I can just buy it and have it shipped to his place, right? Because I was like, I know how to get this stuff, from China to the States, right? So I reached out to him, and we talked about some stuff, and there were some things that he that we ended up reaching an agreement on, that he would want me to buy for him, right? So at the time, this was primarily just a bunch of mice, like computer mice. There was a Razer and Pokemon collaboration that we agreed on, that he would basically have me buy for him, and then he would sell out. And what happened was, I also had some other friends in the group, right? And these people already had packages that they were building up with Adrian. So the idea was, hey, you already have to send something to them anyways. You already have to send some stuff to them anyways. Just toss this mice in, right? Um, I didn't think it would be a big problem. I remember talking about it with him over a call at some point. So there's no actual like
Nothing in writing or
text.
whatever, but
Yeah, there's
verbal
no in
agreement to
writing
making it.
agreement of him saying that he would do it. Um, but there's like me saying like hey, you got to do this, right? Like stuff like that.
Okay.
Um,
Did he ship you anything at this point, or is it like
no,
everything
no,
is
no,
accumulating still from
no,
like
no. The only
all the
thing,
prior rip and ships?
he's only ever sent me stuff once, and that was this year in May.
Okay.
um, and but at the time, I also had not asked him to yet, right? So to his credit,
Hmm.
at this point, he has objectively done nothing wrong, right? Or at least from like my
Yeah.
angle, right? Like on my side, there's nothing that he's done wrong yet, right?
Hmm. Were you under the
Um.
impression like did he have the stuff the whole time?
Oh yeah, no, he did. He
So he
definitely
had all
did.
the stuff. He just is not shipping it out.
Well, at the time, it was like I have not asked him to ship yet, right? And
Hmm.
I know that he has the stuff, or I'm ordering the stuff and it's getting to him or whatever, right?
Okay.
So this is in like March, April. We agree that he would buy the mice off of me, and then I would get it shipped out to him. We actually go for boat mail because it's cheaper, right? Because
Hmm.
it's a bunch of like I also threw in a bunch of other stuff as well.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty big
Um,
package too. So to ship it
right,
here
right.
would
So
be
that's why,
expensive.
yeah, that's why we went with boat mail. Um, so then I also asked him, right? I was like, hey, do you mind if instead of me buying directly from you, is it okay if I ship you sealed stuff that you can open for me on stream anyways, right? Because I was like, I can basically get this at a better price.
Hmm.
You can get stuff for your stream, right? If you're cool with it, then sure, let's do it, right? And at the time, he had agreed, right? So for me, it was like I also don't have to deal with bulk. I also don't have to deal with like a bunch of other, like annoying little stuff, right? And basically, it was like, hey, it's to
It's
me,
like
it sounded like
free
a good idea,
content for
right?
him essentially.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And at the time, he had also agreed to that, right? So I sent him like sealed boxes of stuff that I wanted him to open for me as well, right? So so at this point, so this is early April. I was sending him sealed boxes for him to open for me, and and the mice, right? So the mice, we agreed on a price. He sent me like an Excel list of like the prices that he would pay to me per mouse, as well as as well as quantities and what kinds, right? And that's going to be important later. But basically, it is structured in that I would provide him the inventory and he would pay me upon arrival, right? So all of that gets to him around early June, I want to say. In May, I put in some more stuff for him, right? So in May, I was pushing for, some other stuff, right? Which, to his credit, he didn't really feel, um, how do I phrase this, right? So like he didn't really feel very, what's it called? Like enthusiastic about it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it, but basically, like he didn't really want to do like anything apart from like the Pokemon stuff, right? And I was like, hey, there's some other cool stuff that you could probably take a look at, that you could probably do. And then
It was like
I was
other
like,
card
okay,
games, or
yeah, kinda, right? Um, it was like, at the time, um, there was do you remember the Weiss Schwartz Disney 100?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he bought into that, and then there was another one that like got a little bit of a following, which was the Disney 100 card fund. I don't know if you know about those,
Is
but it
that
was like a
that was like the Chinese one?
yeah. So he got into that a little bit as well, and then I was like, I looked around a bit, and there was some more card fund stuff. They had I don't know if you know what Suzume is, but it was a movie that came out back then in April 2023. So they had a Suzume set, and they also had a Zootopia set. So I got a couple of boxes of those, and I was like, hey, could be interesting. He was like, I don't know how to feel about it. But like the important thing is, right? He never, like, he will say he never said yes to it. He never approved of it. What I will say is he also never said no. He
Okay.
never directly came out and said no, I don't want to do this. It was always like, oh, I don't know, like whatever, right? And
So
he
you're
was like
trying to
that with,
convince him to sell this stuff, or
yeah, to
to
take it
sell it
on
all?
and add it to
Okay.
his like content, right? Um, and he just
So
was
was it the
like
same kind of
waffling
agreement where
around.
you were buying it for yourself and he was opening it for you essentially, or is this
No,
more
no,
like for him to sell?
it was I. What I ended up telling him was, hey, it's okay if you can't sell it. Don't worry, right? Like, don't worry, it's not a big deal. You can just
Hmm.
send it to me, right? But I want you to try. That's what I told him, right? Like, if you can't sell it, I'll take it. But at least put it up, right? See if people buy in just for some fun, right? Because it was also a lot cheaper than the Pokemon stuff. So it like at the very bare minimum, right? Especially with how many people were big fans of Disney, right? Like I thought, at least a little bit you would get some, right? Um, so then what happened was, um, so no no so and then the other thing was like he also was kind of like this when I got the Pokemon stuff for him, like the like I got some other like card stuff like from the Chinese stuff for him. Um, he was also like waffling back and forth. He was like, "Oh, I don't know how many I should get," and then eventually, I remember him saying like it was just back and forth like, "Oh, I don't know what to do," And I was like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna pick for you. Okay, I'm just gonna get 6, and we're gonna be good, right? That's what happened with the Pokemon stuff. So that's why I ended up doing it again, right? Because with the Pokemon stuff, he was like, it ended up, being pretty successful. Like the prices of the stuff went up, so it was like pretty popular because we got it at a lower price, and then being able to sell it at that like
Okay.
really helped. Yeah.
Were you like flipping the bill for that stuff, and then he was paying you when it sells?
Yes, I was
Okay.
fronting everything.
Okay.
I was fronting the money for it until it would sell. Yeah,
Okay. And then if it
and
doesn't
then
sell, the agreement essentially was that just he sets it aside
yeah,
and ships it to you,
yeah,
kind
that's
of
what I
thing.
told him. Right, I told him
So there's
you
like
don't
no
have to front
risk,
any money for. Yeah,
basically.
there's literally no risk for him.
Hmm.
Right, I was telling him like, I'll front the money for it. You don't have to pay me anything. Right, you can pay me after you get the money for it. Right,
Hmm.
like after you sell the stuff on your stream, rip it out. You get paid already through Shopify. Then you can come back and pay me. Right, so to him, the only one that was not exactly like that was the mice, right? The computer mice. That one was I'll front the money until the stuff arrives to you. At that point, I expect to be paid, right?
Hmm.
So not when he sells it, but rather, you know, but even then, it's still very much in his favor, right? All the way
Hmm.
until the stuff gets delivered to him, he does not have to pay. Not until right, like that's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Like no
And if
one,
there's like more margin on it for something like that, if he's paying you, and then he can mark it up and make money that way. Yeah.
yeah,
As long as it's
like
agreed upon,
and
shouldn't be an
that's
issue.
what yeah, right, and that's what we agreed on, or at least that's what I thought we agreed on. So this ends up going to around June, July at this point. I remember in July, like that was basically when everything had arrived, right? So all the Chinese Pokemon stuff we had, all the mice, computer mice that we had, all the non Pokemon stuff that there were, right? Um, so then at this point, this is July. And he has been the entire time like he's been really pissed off about two things. The first one being that he has to ship. Because remember, I also had ordered extra contents, right? For my friends, right? I was like, hey, right? Because I was like, hey, you have to ship stuff to them anyways. Just toss this into the box, right? He did not like that because according to him, right, most of them only really had like bubble mailer type stuff. So the requirement of, oh, now I have to actually get a box for it meant a lot of extra work for him, which I can understand, right?
Was it
Like to a
like
certain
was it the
degree.
work, or was he just worried about like the difference in price for shipping? Because I mean, you could.
Well, I mean, the difference in price and shipping is something that, the person who is paying for shipping would cover, right?
Yeah.
That's not something that he would worry about. It was literally just, oh, I don't want to ship a box.
Yeah.
And he dragged it out for months and months and months. And he would tell me stuff like, "Oh, I don't have a cardboard box," and I was like, "Dude,
Like you order boxes.
we literally just sent you
Yeah.
like 5 when we sent stuff to you." And I don't know, but basically, he just was really reluctant to actually ship stuff. But I think most of my friends at that point had gotten their stuff by around October. Like it's been a while, so it's hard for me to remember. But most of them had gotten stuff shipped out by October or so, right? Um, but anyway, so back to July, right? So that was the first reason why he got like annoyed, mad at me, right? Because he had to ship stuff. The second one was he was like, "Bro, I have so much shit," and I was like, and I was like, "Yeah, it's fine, just whatever sells, whatever doesn't. You can just send it to me, right? Like it's literally just absolutely zero risk. It's literally just like if it sells, you get money. If it doesn't, you don't lose anything, right? Like
Hmm.
and he just stopped streaming. Like he just at that point he was like done, burnt out. I don't know exactly the
Yeah.
reason. He never really said anything about it, which sure, right? Like, I do not blame him for stopping streaming. That's not, you know, like,
No, but
yeah,
it's fine if he wants to stop streaming.
right,
The
right.
the problem is
Like,
clearly that if you stop, you have to ship everyone's stuff out that you sold prior to that, or that you had.
right, right. Like, the stopping of the streaming is not something I'm blaming for him, right? Like, that's not, if you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to, right? I get
Mhm.
that. And then at that point, like, you know, obviously relations have soured, right? Because I'm, bugging him every now and then. Hey, like, when are you going to ship my stuff? When are you going to pay me for the mice? And then he would tell me things like,
So he didn't pay you for any of the mice whatsoever?
no, no,
Okay.
he didn't pay me any of that stuff until like February, a month after the trial.
So like with the
Um,
trial itself, like
yeah,
he was court ordered essentially to like pay you back and return
yes,
everything?
he was.
Did they give
Yes,
him like a time frame that he had to do it, or
yes, 3 months.
3 months? Okay. And then it took him a month to send it out.
No, it took him a month to pay.
Oh, to pay, and then more time after that to ship.
No, he did not ship.
Oh, he still hasn't shipped.
No, 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 no. So what
Okay.
ended up happening was at that point, right? Like, I don't trust him anymore, right? So I asked someone that I knew that lived close to him, to just go and pick up the stuff, right? And then that person would ship to me rather than letting Adrian do it, right? Because
You don't need a box that way.
I mean,
Someone could show up with a box and take the stuff.
yeah, pretty much, right? Um, but Adrian also has the boxes that he received the items in to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, I haven't even opened this.
What the hell?
And then, yeah, I messaged him all the way back in like, so what, to give it a little bit more context, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the trial on, this was in January. So from the trial, right? Basically, he shows up and he says like, I'm just here to talk things out because the plaintiff won't talk to me, and and I was just looking at it and I'm like, I have 3 whole pages of screenshots showing
Yeah.
me trying to reach out to you, me asking you, hey, whatever, right? And then him just ignoring me. But apparently, when it
He
comes
told
to,
me the same thing, and I was like, "This doesn't make any
yeah,
sense." Like, if you're
no,
saying that
like
you're
if you
willing to
look at,
talk to him, but I
yeah,
can't
like if you
remember
look at
exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of like he was gonna give you the stuff back, but he thought it was better if he did it through like the legal process. Like,
no,
why? How is that better? That's not
no,
better for
so that
anyone.
there is a bit of context to that, right?
Hmm.
He offered like 3 weeks before the trial. So this is after I start filing for the lawsuit, right? So so for a little bit more on that, right? I emailed him because he banned me from his server. And the trial, he said it was because I was racist. The actual reason is because I called him out for being wrong. Um, I so what happened was, the Van Gogh Pikachu promo card, right? That thing was gone within like 2 hours, right? So that day his server was pretty busy. A lot of people were like, "Oh, is it gonna restock? Are we gonna get more of the promo cards?" And I was just telling people like, "No, it's gone, right? Like, it's just gone. They scrubbed the whole thing from the Pokemon website. It's gone. Right? You're not getting any more promos." And he was saying I was like inciting FOMO, and I was like, "Dude, I'm not inciting FOMO. It's literally just gone. I promise you. I'm just telling it as it is, right?" And and he said something about like, "Oh, I need you to understand like what you're doing is wrong." And I was like, I don't see how what I'm doing is wrong. I'm literally just telling you the truth."
Hmm.
And then he didn't
Well,
like,
if somebody
he
wants to express an opinion, if like
yeah, And
I mean, maybe
you know,
different story if like the next post after that you're selling 200 of them or something like that. Maybe. I
I
mean,
mean,
there's no way to tell exactly what the Pokemon company's gonna do. So
yeah,
like,
and the best part was literally like during our like conversation, the like Pokemon company tweeted out that they were completely out of promos, and I pointed to that and I was like, yeah, so you're wrong, I'm correct. He really didn't like that, and at that point he banned me.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, like basically I was unapologetic, and he was, you know, what feels like just trying to find any reason to kick me out because I was, you know, like obviously I was giving him a lot of like side flack, right? Like
Mhm.
just like yeah, and you know, as I should, because this was what, like 2 months after I started asking for payment on the mice, and he still
Mhm.
had it, and like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well, I
like
mean, like
I
if you guys
asked him
don't
to
like
start
each other and he
shipping.
doesn't want you
Right,
in there, then that's like, I
right.
mean, that's on him. Like he doesn't really need a reason other than that. But at
I
the same
mean,
time, like you can't shut down communication because of it. Just because he doesn't want you in that server, it doesn't mean that he can't answer DMs or emails or.
so at that point he did actually, to his credit, send me a friend request. You know, so that we would be able to keep on messaging each other, and I said no. I'll just email you because Discord messages are editable.
Mhm.
So I started emailing him. I asked another one of my friends to relay an email to him rather than me directly emailing him, right? Because I, you know, didn't want him to have my actual email address, right? So then I did that. He never responded to that email. And then in that email, I gave him a time frame. I said, you know, I want you to pay me by X day and to have stuff shipped out by X day. And if you don't, I'm going to start the processes of a, you know, of a trial, right? Of a court lawsuit, right? He didn't. I emailed him again with you know, one of my emails, and then he emailed back saying, "Hey, this is your first time reaching out to me."
Mhm.
And I said, "No, I emailed you 3 weeks ago, and I know you received it." And he said he gave me some bit like
So was there
some
like a read receipt or like?
no, like he like referenced it in a
Okay.
text with someone else. But like he gave me some attitude about like, oh, you know, we're not kindergartners, like, and I was like, what do you mean, right? But I can I'm pretty sure the stuff I showed you has all the emails. You can probably
Mhm.
read through it. But but at that point I said something like, you know, like, you know, I'll give you another week, and obviously he didn't. So then I started filing, you know, the lawsuit, right? So at this point, this is early November 2023. I filed the lawsuit. Um, I had to get a legal company in San Francisco to, you know, submit my documents and everything because filing a small claims lawsuit in San Francisco requires that you submit it in person. I do not live in San Francisco. I cannot do it. I had to hire a company to do it for me. Um, then you know, once we got the approval from the court, they scheduled a date for me, which was January, in the middle of January. So this is about a week, month and a half. I was actually invited onto Judge Judy, but uh, Adrian obviously did not accept that.
Okay.
Um, and
Is
then,
that where it's recorded?
huh? Oh, the
Is that
meeting?
where it's
No, no,
recorded?
no. The that was one of the online attendants
Okay.
because the court is like set up so that anyone in the public can join the Zoom meeting, but they're not allowed to like it's like a webinar, right? So
Mhm.
only certain people are allowed to speak, and then anyone who's not, you know, obviously the plaintiff or whatever, just like doesn't have the option to unmute or whatever. It was one of the people that was watching who recorded it. So then, where am I? So this is early November, right? So I got my date scheduled. I start filing the rest of my stuff. We serve Adrian the court papers, right? And at this point, so Adrian just got served in, I want to say, mid-December, like a little bit early, kind of mid-December, like maybe around like December 10th or something. I'm like pretty sure if you look up the actual case, you can find it, like the exact date. But at that point, he emails me saying, "Hey, I just got your notified about the case. You know, we can settle this outside of court." And at that point, I was like, man,
Why not beforehand? But like,
why, right? Like, why don't you do this before I file the court case, right? Like, why don't you, tell me this, but way before? Now that now that you have to show up to court, now you're all of a sudden being amicable, right? Like, so to his credit, what he's saying, yeah, kind of true, right? Yes, he did offer to send me the stuff outside of the court. Yes, that's true. As soon as he realized he had to show up to court, that is, he did that.
mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not going to take that, right? Like, I already had to pay all this money to get everything filed, right? And obviously, if he does it outside of court, right, he's not going to pay me for the legal fees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's a limit on how much I can get back, that's still money, right?
Still something, yeah.
Yeah. And so what happened was, and I also didn't want to risk, him saying he would and then just not, and then my court gets canceled because we don't show up. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
You'd have to receive everything beforehand,
right?
And then also, if he's
wasn't going to happen, yeah, because he only offered that like December 15th or 19th or something, right? And the court date is a month from then. Like, it's just too soon. I was like, no, I'll see you in court. So to his credit, yes, that is true. I did not accept his his offer for very good reason, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay, so judgment was in your favor, and then they gave him stipulations that he had 3 months to pay back and send everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then he didn't pay me until I texted. Like, to be a little bit more precise, actually, we were actually ordered to do a phone call, and he hung up on me because I was being stubborn. He was going on and on about like, oh, you have to help me out, and I was like, how am I supposed to help you out when the stuff is at your place and I live on the other side of the country? Mm-hmm. And he just did not like my responses, I guess, which, to be fair, yeah, I was giving him a hard time. I don't think you can blame me for that either.
No, I mean, like, but, at some point you run out of patience. Like, I've completely run out of patience with the entire situation. Is so ridiculous. If he has everything and could just return everything to the people, like, if he doesn't have enough money or if he didn't have the items anymore, that's one thing. But it seems like he has everything. He claims he's going to send it, but then he doesn't send it, or he sends some of it, and then he goes quiet again. Like, it's just fix it. If you don't want to stream anymore, don't stream anymore. If you don't want to do Pokemon, if you don't want to do any of it anymore, send the stuff back, fix it. Like, it's just making more of a mess than it needs to be. Like, there's no reason for it. I mean, usually I've seen, I don't know how many examples of like people with like, I guess, similar partnerships that are streaming on Whatnot, and like one person like runs out of money and then they can't pay the other person for the stuff that they sent or something like that, or they spend it on something else, or they just kind of run out of money and they're kind of using the next batch of something to pay for debt, or and then that falls apart. But like, it makes no sense to me to not just return people's stuff and then like be done with it. Like if it's just
I also like
drawn out for no reason.
all the way back in October when I first emailed him. I gave him the option of, hey, I can send someone to your place to pick it all up. So not having money was never a problem. I mean, I guess, maybe the mice, it was like $1,000 in total. So yeah. I guess, the money for the mice, maybe he could have, not had the money for that, but I doubt it. Because
So was he using this stuff as like a means to like,
I don't know.
How's he paying the bills?
Like his bills? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like if he's not streaming anymore, he's not selling stuff. Like,
he has another full-time job or whatever.
Okay.
He like owns a Tesla car or whatever. Like he's fine.
Mm-hmm. So it's not even that. But like even then, when like given the option that somebody can come pick it up and you don't even have to bring it to the post office or arrange for it to be picked up.
Yeah, like I was like, he just at that point, like the only other option is just he's being petty and he, just wants to, make it a hassle.
Drag it out and make it worse. Yeah. I mean, but it's making it worse for himself.
I mean, and that's what we told him too. He was like, oh, I just want this all like, apparently he was telling other people like, oh, I just want this all to be done with. And then they would tell him, yeah, just ship it and you'll be done.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no.
I've told him that a few times now. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I remember, what is it? So after the whole thing, right? Like after the court case, we're at this point we moved to text, because he was court ordered to give me his phone number and to, actually no, he gave it to me before in an email, I think. Because he was like, oh, call here and then, we'll sort it out outside of court. And I told him no. Okay, I think that's what happened. I remember him giving his phone number pretty late in that. But
ordered to communicate after.
Yeah, so during the court case, he was ordered to communicate afterwards about, like when he would ship and all that, right? And then, he hung up on me, and then after that, we started a text chain. This went on, obviously, until like April, when I finally got, a lot of the stuff. So what happened was I texted him a couple times in like January. He was, he kind of just said, oh, later, remind me later. I texted him in February. He paid me at that point because I said something along the lines of like, I don't understand why you can't pay me right now. I understand, like, sure, the packages, right? You have to put it all up, but the payment is a 1-minute process. Like you just open Venmo, pay me what you owe me.
If you have time to text back and forth or message
or
whatever,
you have time to open Venmo.
Yeah.
At that point, and at that point, to his credit, he did, right? He did pay me at that point. Then I told him like I would prefer if you, ship if you send me my stuff via the the third party pickup, right? And I told him how I wanted to do it, and he said like okay, sure, like we can do it. And then this entire time, I asked him, hey, can you provide me a list of what you have? Right, so that I can check it against what I think he owes me, and I can, ask him if there's, anything missing, or to make sure that everything's there, right?
Yeah, or if it's not, like whether or not it's organized is a whole another story. Like if it's all over the place and he's just grabbing things that he thinks that he is supposed to send you, then.
But again, remember, he also later on confessed he never opened the boxes. Right. it's not that it's not organized. It's all right there. He just needs to open up the boxes and double check and make sure he has what he has.
Yeah, I mean, he should have done that when he received it anyway to make sure that the quantity was right. And
which I don't know why he didn't. And I bugged him about it. You can see in the messages. I was like, hey, can we confirm everything arrived? And he would say, Oh, I kind of checked it and it all looks there. You know, I showed that
Unreal.
to the court. You know, I showed that to the court because, you know, if he says it's there, then the court will say it's there. Um, so then, so he completely refuses to do that, right?
Hmm.
And he keeps on insisting, let's do a video call where, you know, where we both record it. Let's do a video call, go through the items one by one. And I was like, why can't you just list it out and
Yeah.
send it to me in an email? Right? Why does this have to be a video call?
Yeah.
He
That's
doesn't, you know, he doesn't say anything about it. He just doesn't do it. I was like, look, if you want the pictures because you don't know what it is, you can send me pictures on an email. We don't need this to be a video call. Nope, refuses. No list is made. By the way, I sent him a list of what I expected to be there all the way back in October.
right.
So, you know, and again, you can see what I have out there, right? Um, but what is it? Uh, like at least right, compare against the list to see, you know, what's different between what I expect versus what you have, right? At least something like that. Nope, none of that. Instead, what he decides to do is upon the like he also like the entirety of March he said, "Oh, I'm on a trip to Korea." Like he said, "Oh, it was an emergency trip," which I mean, I suppose, right? I guess, you know, sometimes stuff, you know, just pops up and you don't have any control over it, right? But come on, right? At least tell me when you have to go, rather than I text you and you text me back saying, "Oh, don't bother me, I'm on an emergency trip." Like, how am I supposed to know that, right?
Right.
Like, he knows he's in this deal with me, and then he like I was so pissed off by that. Anyways, so he gets back. You know, I get him to be in contact with, you know, the guy who's picking up. They agree on a date. It's like Friday, I want to say. One of the like one of the Fridays, just barely before the checkup, which is in the middle of April. So this is early April at this point. At this point, Adrian gets a great idea to check everything that he has. So the moment my guy gets there, it's raining that day. I remember this clearly. It's raining. Adrian starts texting me pictures of everything one by one, saying, "This is what I have. This is what I have. Please check it." I was like, "I asked you for
Like
this."
he didn't want to make the list. He wanted you to check off your list as he went through it, I
No,
guess.
no, no. Right. But even then, right? He's like texting me pictures one by one, and I was like, "Isn't this what I asked you for like 2 months ago?"
Hmm.
And you know, like, it was just
Well, that's the thing
the
too,
guy.
is then you're gonna waste so much time with like the person that's going to pick that stuff up. That's gotta
He stayed
sit there and
outside for
wait.
like 2 hours.
Yeah. Instead of having it
Yeah.
like all ready to go and checked off, and yeah, I don't know.
So,
That's
I mean, at
that's just
this
headaches
point,
all around, and it's like
yeah,
it's like everything,
like
and it's how
I,
many. I don't even know how many people it is, because
it's like,
I heard like third party stories. I hear a little bit from the people that
yeah,
are actually owed things, and then some of the
yeah,
people that are owed things, like the recent one where he returned some of the stuff, and then the person was like, "Oh yeah, sick, I got everything," and he added extras, but then it turns out he was missing something because it seems like, I mean, maybe so much time passed that they forgot what was supposed to be sent.
yeah.
It's just it all could have been like, you're done streaming, send everyone their shit, and do whatever you're going to do after that. Like,
But remember,
it's insane.
He doesn't like shipping. Yeah.
Or hire someone to ship it. I guess I don't. You would think it'd be easier that he would know where everything is. You would hope.
I don't know.
Fill the orders. I don't know. But just, man, just terrible. If anyone, I don't know if anyone is actually, or is or was owed as much as you were.
Oh no,
But
the other guy was owed more. the one that you're talking about, where he just recently got it stuck.
Okay.
That
He was
guy,
actually owed more.
was owed more. Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. I like
Okay.
compared the monetary value of what I had versus his, and I was like
Hmm.
half of his.
Yeah, and then there's like Fortune and Fire where like they had to like pay for stuff out of pocket. So then like that's even more of a mess because then like do they need to be just sent like a monetary sum for what it cost them to replace the items that they were supposed to have? And then
I actually
like
don't know much about the rest.
it's
I only
oh my god.
know like really about mine, because
Yeah.
yeah, I also
I mean that's
kind of had my
I think
hands
that's enough
pretty
to
full.
worry about and pester about, I'm
Yeah,
sure. So
yeah.
but like it's
I mean,
just all around just a giant mess that should have never existed.
pretty much.
But if anyone needs advice, is it okay to tell them to reach out to you?
I
Basically,
mean,
your process,
I,
what you went through to, if they need a
I
breakdown of how to
guess,
do that.
but
I mean, if
I'm also not a lawyer.
right,
I
or
can't
just
give
if
legal
you,
advice.
it doesn't have to necessarily be legal advice, but just in terms of, I guess, giving them a push or giving them like a little bit of a, it's not, I'm sure it's not something that most people. I mean, time and time again, we see like the lack of like business professionalism and experience within a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm sure a lot of people are kind of lost on how they would even take legal action to get their stuff back, and no one should have to. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that they would have to get their stuff or their money back, but it's even more
Hmm.
ridiculous that it seems like he has everything and he just won't ship it or send the money. Like it's just such an easy fix that it just blows my mind. And then like the amount of time that he spent lying to me and like Robo spent lying to me, like for what? Like it's so stupid. The whole thing. Like it's like the and if he's not even doing anything with it, it's like the worst scam ever. It's not even it's just being
It's
difficult
just a
and making it
scam
worse
of
for yourself and everyone else. Like,
it's just a scam of being lazy, really.
yeah. Or just like wasting people's time.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not entirely sure about what happened with Robo. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
really
know.
know.
Like I think he was like trying to
I've
be tough because like Adrian owed people money, so he thought like he was gonna be a hero or something. Maybe he
I
got worked
think
up, worked up because it was
no,
a
so
one piece tournament.
Robo actually like reached out to me a while back, and we had a little bit of talking back and forth. Um but I think like at some point it just got to the point where Robo was just trying to like show, because like Adrian was calling Robo like this or that, and basically like Adrian was just
Mhm.
uh what's it called, tarnishing, is that really the right phrase, tarnishing
Mhm.
Robo's like reputation at that point. So
Okay.
Robo
Was he
was just
doing
like
that like
trying,
prior to the whole like game store
I think,
nonsense?
no, he was doing it because of what happened at the game store. I don't So from
Hmm.
what I know, right? From and take what I am saying. Like
Yeah.
again, right? Like my story is also from my perspective, right? Sure,
Hmm.
like like it's not necessarily 100% accurate, right? Um, but like most of like the dates of stuff, or like most of like what I have described, can be traced back to like the messages that we have sent back and forth,
Hmm.
as well as the recording from the actual from the trial itself, right? Um, obviously, some of the things about like when I say like what he felt or whatever, right? That's my interpretation, right? So
Hmm.
that obviously can't be taken to be true, not easily at least, right?
Yeah.
But like I think I've tried my best to be as like I've tried my best to stick to facts,
Yeah.
um and like I think that should be as much help as I can give in that sense. But so this side of things, from what I know about Robo and Adrian, is I'm not sure where I heard this from. I can't remember anymore. if it was from Robo himself directly or from anyone else. But from what I know, what happened between the two of them is Adrian was trying to source Robo something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been the Disney 100 Weiss short stuff. It might have been like the Pixar stuff. I don't know. I'm
I
pretty sure it was
remember
one of
hearing
those.
something like Adrian said something along those lines that they had a falling out of some kind about sourcing
Yeah,
product
yeah.
or.
But basically, Adrian wasn't able to get it to Robo, and then Robo like missed out or something like that.
Mhm.
Like that's like all I can remember at this point. That's as far as I
Yeah,
know.
there
But
was
like
something like that. So like the
yeah, yeah.
whole, and then I
So
don't know if it
they
was like
had
based on the, I guess some of that, and then the fact that they were both at an event, and then maybe also like Adrian not sending people their stuff, and then like
I don't
it's still
think
like,
Robo knew about that. I don't think Robo knew
uh,
about that at the
okay,
time.
so
Like
it's
when they
just
met in
their
person.
own
So
personal. Robo
when
never
they
like
like
actually talked to me. Like I offered to have a conversation with him, but he didn't. Like he let on that he wanted to, but he wouldn't talk to me about it.
I don't know.
And then I don't know. There were some lies in there from him. I think the main thing with him is like, I get it if you're heated, you have a disagreement with someone, but like it doesn't matter how big of a scammer the person is. Like you should never threaten or get violent with anyone in person, or even like the Lysander Roth friggin' post.
Mhm.
Like don't say stupid stuff, whether it's on the internet, whether you intend to do it or not. Like don't post something stupid like that you have to show up to someone's house with a bat. Like there's no. I get that you're probably pretty upset, but the takeaway is like don't threaten violence, don't threaten someone's life.
Yeah, just
I
threaten
think
legal action instead.
I think you did the right thing. It's unfortunate that it's so silly that it had to take you pursuing like the legal route in order to get your stuff
Yeah.
back, but that might be the only option for some of these people.
I
Like if he
mean,
just
for
wants to
most of
make it
them,
more and more difficult.
it's not going to be worth it for most of them.
Yeah. So I don't know
Um,
even
I
I don't know
paid
how that works with if
about I paid
collectively
about
they
a
can
thousand
file
dollars.
something.
Nah, no, there's no chance. Not for small claims. Small claims has to be individually.
Hmm. Like in the very least,
So
they can definitely file a police report if they haven't already.
the police won't care
They
about
probably won't
something
do
like that.
anything, but still, if it's going to be on record that this guy's not sending people their stuff, it's kind of better than nothing, or better than stupid
I
threats
mean,
online.
yeah. I mean, so for me, I ended up paying a total of like $1,000, and then in the county of San Francisco, they're only required to
Hmm.
they have a maximum of $250 of legal fee awardance basically. So I basically paid $750 to get stuff back.
Hmm.
But considering that the mice alone was 900 plus the value of the rest of the stuff that he ended up having to give out, like
Yeah.
it was worth it for me. But I
Hmm.
also don't think other people have $2,000 worth
Yeah.
of stuff minimum. So like it's
Hmm.
not worth it for most people. Like for other people who have like 5 packs or whatever, there, just give up. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean
say it,
you
like
can you
even
can
me trying to just push it, like just fucking send the stuff back, just send it back. Take the time to do it. I don't care if like you don't feel
yeah
like it, if you're under the weather, if you're gloomy and doomy, if you're listening to emo tunes or something. Like just fucking pack the stuff up and send it back. I don't, even if it's like one person a week or something. Like just make
yeah.
progress on it. Send the stuff back. I'm glad
I
at least
mean
one other person got the majority of their stuff, but
that's the right thing to do. But as we all know, like
like
it's not.
holy shit, it's so frustrating. It's
And that's really all there is to it. Like
yeah, like, and
there's not.
I completely understand like the
Uh,
frustration that you and everyone else went through, because just me trying to push them to send the stuff back is like just painful. It's so painful to try to get them to do anything. But
yeah, I mean, I also don't know like really much about like what at this point like what he's doing. Like I feel like at this point the only way he really changes anything is if like it starts to threaten like his One Piece side. Like like apparently like as we all know, like he's completely moved away from Pokemon at this point, and he's
Hmm.
moved over to One Piece, and apparently like quite good at the card game and like
Hmm.
participating in tournaments and stuff. Like at this point, the only way anything changes is if like that tournament attending part of him like gets threatened somehow, and I don't see how that's happening.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
to
like,
him, like this is just stuff that doesn't matter anymore. I feel.
right. So like outside of like clearly you've kind of written off the any type of like selling platform or anything like
Yeah.
that, or like I don't know who in the right mind would recommend that anyone buy stuff from, unless it's through a platform where he's forced to send it, whether it's eBay or something like that, if he's still buying and selling things.
Hmm.
But like outside of that, there's no reason for anyone to risk
Like I
buying or
mean,
selling or sending
he's
anything
also just
through him.
not doing it anymore. Like
Right.
he
So
also
like if you're giving it up entirely too, then like it's not really a big deal. Own up to it,
yeah.
send people their shit back, and go play One Piece. Like,
Like if there's anything good out of this, it's just that no one in the future is gonna have to deal with this.
yeah, you would hope so. But
at least
I mean,
at least for
there's
now.
yeah. I mean, it's not like a one. I mean, it's kind of a one-off problem in the fact that like usually the people don't have the items anymore. Or they sell them twice or something like that. It just that's why it's so mind-boggling that somebody that has all the items that isn't doing anything with the items, that isn't like trying to sell them to someone else or make some money off of it, is just sitting on the items and too stubborn or lazy or a dickhead to just send the stuff back. Like,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I have no idea what it's gonna take, or hopefully it just slowly, even if it can slowly trickle out to the other people that are owed stuff.
Oh no, I mean,
Like, you would think there'd be motivation there to like maybe you don't have the reputation that you once had, but maybe if you send everyone's stuff back, you apologize, and you just move into like you're gonna play the game, and you're not gonna do anything of the sort ever again. Like I think most people, I mean, I wouldn't expect anyone to even forgive him, but like most people are
they'd
just
be
not
willing to
gonna care
forget.
at
Yeah.
not care at that point. Like if you're not doing that anymore, you make it right, you move on. Who cares? But
Good
yeah,
luck with that.
I'm trying over here, trying over here.
Yeah, that's why you need the good luck.
All right, thanks, thanks for the
Yeah,
chat.
for sure. Yeah.
I'll I'll let you go on that note.
All right.
Much appreciated for the additional context, the information. I mean, I'm
Yeah, for
always
sure.
kind of telling people to be careful with like business partners and stuff like that, fronting people product or money or anything like that. Is it gets pretty dicey. But
Yeah,
yeah, didn't think I'd
sure
ever
does.
see something like this. It's really something special.
Yeah, I was really surprised too, especially when I offered like we'll go to your doorstep and pick everything up, and he still just kind of didn't.
Yeah,
That
that's
was like that was
it's
mind-boggling
like
for me.
clearly like the excuses prior to that about shipping was just fake excuses, but
I don't know. Oh, well.
maybe it's a spite thing. That's my best guess.
That was my best guess too.
All right. Thanks for the
Yeah.
chat, the information.
Hmm.
Hopefully it's useful to others, and hopefully eventually this entire thing gets cleaned up. Glad that you
Yeah,
could
I
get
sure
your
hope so
stuff
too.
back. Unfortunate that it cost you some money to do so.
Yeah.
Um, but that's if that's what it takes.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Talk to you
Thanks.
later.
Until next.
Bye.
Mhm.